Hello student, today we will learn about HTML and CSS. Okay, before going through the HTML and CSS, we should know about what is the backend and what is frontend. And then we will learn about HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Then steps to write the code, how we will write that HTML code and CSS code. Then its example. Moving forward. Okay, next one is introduction. Here we should know about what is front end, what is back end. Front end means what are visible to the users. It means if we are see any kind of seeing any kind of screen, in that screen whatever we are uh, seeing, that is visible to user, that is known as user interface or user access. Like here we can say we can write the code in HTML or CSS or in JavaScript. Always remember that HTML and CSS always using for the web page layout and web page design. And here in backend only works behind the screen, means we only can see the screen that is visible to user, that is known as a front end. But in backend, here the code is written in PHP, Python or Node. Okay, next it will handle the logic and the database authentication. But in HTML, CSS in front end, we can only see wherever the web page and layout designed or not. Next, in backend also, that is processing login details and saving the data. It means whenever we are creating any kind of HTML and CSS web page, after that we have to save that. And as a backender, the code is running behind the screen. That's why it is backend. So moving forward to next is HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and its purpose is to define the structure and content of a web page. Means if we want to write any kind of code like in HTML, some example we can see it is document. First we have to start from the document, then HTML, then we have to write certain code. After that, whatever we are defining in that code is known as HTML code, and after that code is run, then we can see the entire entire page of the HTML. Next, here it creates the heading, paragraphs, image, tables and link and etc. Means using HTML code we can create any kind of link, we can design our sheet, and here we always take the help of CSS also. And our HTML works like after the code is written, then it runs in the browser. We can only run in a browser. We can work alone with the lack design. Means our HTML page is already saved. Then it is a front ender works. Then moving forward, next one is CSS. CSS means cascading style sheet. Cascading style sheet means it is a format of the web page. Whether we are creating one HTML page, after creating a HTML page, we can write any kind of code within HTML page, any code. Then if you will see one example, if we are writing any HTML code, like if we are starting HTML, then we will give any kind of heading, means according to our HTML page. Then if we want to write any kind of CSS code, then we have to start within curly braces. Means after that we have to close the HTML code, head and HTML. Means always remember, we only write the code after HTML, we have to close that code. That symbol is like HTML. So then we have to write any kind of CSS code between the curly braces. Okay, next here it runs in the same like web browser, because we are running our HTML in a web browser. Then we are entering the code in CSS code in HTML. That's why also we have to run it in HTML page or any kind of web browser. Next, JavaScript. JavaScript means it have like if we are seeing our front end is our HTML, CSS and JavaScript, but in JavaScript it is a special case. Like here we have to write any kind of code, like any kind of code, like you can write Java code, you can write PHP code, you can write Python code also. Here for the JavaScript we always need HTML and CSS for the manipulate element. And what are the main difference of HTML, CSS and JavaScript? Here the function is in HTML, as I said, it defines structures, means whatever we are seeing in a screen, that is HTML, whatever styling that page is known as CSS, and JavaScript it adds only interactive, means it will be connected through the code only. Then here some example we have in HTML we have two types of code tag, is open tag and close tag. Open tag here H1 is coding for your head, and P for paragraph. Image, if you want to put any kind of image in your web page, then you can use this code also. Then table, if you want to table, like this, so many of HTML code tags are there. In here CSS we can write color margin in lastly I said like if we want to write the code in curly braces. And in JavaScript here the document dot get elements, like if you want to write any kind of code, you have to write in a function. Then next we can work alone. Here without HTML you cannot write any CSS code, because HTML, within HTML code you have to write CSS code within the curly braces. Here only HTML and CSS code are needed, and HTML is our markup language, because we have to create first a web page, then for the styling only you are using CSS. Then it is a programming language. Next, what are the steps to follow HTML and CSS? Okay, first we have to write, we have to open a text editor. It may be your doc type, and after that we have to write the HTML code. Means we have to write code like H1 or hello I am using for the heading, and it will run for in a web browser. Then we have to save the file in .html format and open the file in a browser. Means after writing the code we have to open that file in a browser, then we have to run in a browser only. Like that CSS also used for the style the web page, and in HTML we are saving the code in .html, means you have to give one file name then .html, and here also we have to save that code in .css. After completing HTML code, because if you will ask that means HTML, if we are saving HTML code then in .html, why then .css? But here the answer is within the HTML code we have to write the CSS code. That's why after the compilation of HTML code, once if you are adding CSS code, you have to save that entire file as the name of .css. Then here like H1 curly braces start color, means I want to change my web page color in blue. So for that only we using H1 color blue. Then it will run the file with the HTML file. Next, this is the one of example, like if we see HTML file index.html, we are saving the file in the name of index.html. Here HTML is the saving .html and .css, and here we can see doc type HTML, means it is a documentary page. Here we can write HTML, we have the end tag also, and head, and we have to close that head also. For that we are using closing head, and here the title my wave page. We can write any kind of, if you are creating your own database also, you can write anything in your title, and after that you have to write accordingly. Next, in CSS file, we are writing code in a calligraphies. You want to change color, you want to change the font, you want to add something, you can write in a calligraphies. And now next, moving forward, the step to run. We are writing the code in HTML and CSS. After that, how to run the code? First, we have to create two files in the same folder. Then we have to save that folder in index.html for the HTML coding, and style plus style.css for the CSS coding. After that, we have to copy the respective code into each file. Means you have to copy HTML file as well as CSS file. Then open index.html in a web browser, Chrome, any kind of your search engine you have, you can run over there. And in next class, we will study about various types of code and how it can be aligned. Thank you.